Okay, everybody take a deep breath in and relax.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought.
Namaste, friends. Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. Do hope you're doing well. Genuinely do hope that. Welcome back to Chelsea News. Here on the 30th of July, this morning. Big stories popping out. Romano's given an exclusive regarding Conor Gallagher and his exit from Chelsea. We'll speak about that a little bit as well. A couple of sources as well talking about the Enzo Fernandez situation at Chelsea. Spoiler, not resolved. We will be citing a chap called Christian Martin, who's a Argentinian reporter, journalist, as well as a website, Bola VIP, talking about him as well. These are recent updates published on news sites, sports news sites, for that is what we do here on Chelsea News on Football Therapy. Keep it locked, guys. I'm going to be updating you all the time as quickly as possible with stories breaking regarding Chelsea Football Club, so I'll thank you for your support. You can do that simply by dropping a like on this video. Thank you for that. And if you dig the content, if you enjoy it, if you find yourself a returning visitor to this YouTube channel, why not just subscribe and hit the bell should you choose to subscribe. Let's get into it. Okay, so we'll put a pin in the Enzo Fernandez situation for a moment. We're going to pick that up in the second part of the video. But I do want to speak about this Conor Gallagher update becoming rather real. Of course, it's been a percolating story for so long now, Conor Gallagher leaving Chelsea. He's been up for sale for what feels like years. A high-profile player, a model professional, a good player, and probably most notably in this instance, a pure profit sellable asset. We'll speak about that a bit more. So Romano's tweeted this. Exclusive, Atletico Madrid and Chelsea are now in direct talks for Conor Gallagher. Of course, prior to this, there was a sort of links to Atletico Madrid, sort of informal suggestions, not a real negotiation, not a real sit down, but this seemingly has since manifested. Negotiations are underway for a package worth around 35 to 40 million, add-ons included. Wow, requested by Chelsea. Gallagher is on top of Atletico's list as revealed in May. Now getting closer. Ooh, mama. Well, off the bat, first thing, this isn't a lot of money. We were reading stuff from The Telegraph, The Athletic, that Chelsea want around 50 million quid because they sold Mason Mount for 55-60 million quid, and they believe it's a similar issue. Young England international midfielder with 12 months left on this deal, and always selected by all his managers. Mason Mount had won the Champions League and was quite productive with goals and assists. Maybe Conor Gallagher is viewed as... And firstly, the market's changed in just a year as well. People aren't necessarily going to pay that money. In fact, maybe people look at Man United paying that money for Mason Mount thinking, they didn't really get their money's worth there. That's not... Conor Gallagher's not worth that. And... yeah, and there's just this thing of Conor Gallagher, like, he's just been in the shop window for so long. Personally, and I'm going to be big... And I know we're all like... negative and sour about Mason Mount leaving. Mason Mount, I think, is worth more money. He was worth more money. Like I said, he's slightly more attacking. That side of the pitch, you earn more money. You do earn more money. I do think Mason Mount is a great footballer. And of course, he's a European champion, etc., etc. And he was integral to that Champions League win, Mason Mount. I don't think Conor Gallagher's worth as much money, and Conor Gallagher has much longer, rightly or wrongly, we'll all have our opinions on this, he's much longer been in the shop window publicly. Now, of course, the market isn't as free spending as it was 12 months ago as well for the PSR rules, etc. So there's a multitude of reasons why he wouldn't necessarily generate as much money as Mason Mount. Though, personally, I did think... if he goes for 35 million euros, which is about 32 million quid, 31 million quid, with add-ons included, which might mean like the upfront fee might be like 25 million quid or less, which seems crazy for Conor Gallagher. But maybe maybe it's just so clear he's not. Maresca might have had done a lot of video analysis, knows they want to sell him, speculating to a degree here, and said, yeah, he's not. He's a very good player. He's not the type of player I want to use. all right, well, we just need to sell him because we're not going to, in that case, we're not going to extend him. We don't want him going on a free especially because he represents pure profit on the books. You need to sell him. Now, what was available? Well, there's Tottenham. They've always been interested, and they would almost certainly pay more money than him. I know they bought Archie Gray. He's a midfielder, isn't he? For a lot of money. So there's Tottenham. There's Aston Villa. Aston Villa would have been ideal. They're a Champions League club. They're not a direct bitter rival like Tottenham. Of course, he's a big Chelsea fan. He comes from a family of Chelsea fans. We'll get to the sentiment in a moment, don't worry. Aston Villa would have been a good opportunity. Of course, they dropped 60 million quid on Amadou Onana. I believe that, or 60 million euros. A lot of money, so that's out. And I think all of us would prefer he goes to Atletico Madrid over Tottenham. So I'll talk about him at Chelsea in just a moment. But firstly, target destination Atletico Madrid. I like that. If he's got to go, I'm totally cool with that. In fact, that is a preferred destination for me. Probably over a lot of clubs, because I've said it before on the channel many times. He is, and I don't mean this in a negative, derogatory way. I mean this in the best ways. He is such a Simeone player, isn't he? Like, I'd love that as a proud Englishman as well. Like, in the same way I loved how Trippier went to Atletico Madrid, won La Liga, and was such an important, integral player. Despite being a fullback, he was so important to them winning that title. And that was obviously good for his sort of claim as an England international. I think it will be the same for Conor Gallagher. Of course, Southgate liked him. We don't know who's going to be the England manager. But I feel like him going for playing a really high-profile European club, getting the best out of his play style, that sort of work rate, that tenacity, that aggression that makes Conor Gallagher such a good player. I think it would be a great move for him. Going to play in the Wanda Metropolitano, big fan base, learning Spanish, Madrid derby with Jude Bellingham. I think in that sense, there's a sort of excitement, romance, cultural excitement to him going out in Spain. He's still a young man. What was he, 24? In isolation, I like the destination. I'm just seeing on the Fabrizio Romano tweet here, the secret scout has said, this move is made in heaven. Simeone will have him running like crazy. And in that sense, it is the perfect move for him. Now, of course, the money's not a lot. It's very sad. And it's sad. Firstly, I need to, I do recognise he's a Chelsea boy. He loves Chelsea. He's worn the captain's armband. He's represented us very well and professionally. He's a top boy. He seems like a really great lad that's, of course, just wanted to play for Chelsea. So it's sad, poor optics. Now, there's some stuff we don't know. We don't know what his wage demands were, if they were realistic or unrealistic. We don't know what his contract length demands were, if he was going to play ball in terms of the new project contract lengths. Of course, there was speculation that he might have been leaning into the Mason Mount demands in terms of, no, I'm only going to sign a 4-5-year deal, 4-year deal or whatever. We don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm speculating to a degree there. And maybe Conor himself, like, he loves Chelsea, wants to stay at Chelsea, but maybe there's a part of him that thinks, it would be nice to just go to a club who's going to pay me for what I do well, and there's just not going to be all this speculation hanging over me anymore, so I can just concentrate on my football. I mean, he's done well out of Chelsea recently because he's played every game. He's not been lacking football, and that's served him well, the type of player he is. He doesn't get injured. The best ability is availability. And he's played well, and I feel like this has been possibly the perfect preparation for Atletico Madrid. Now, many people are upset and frustrated, understandably so. I've been very clear I'd like to keep Conor Gallagher, but I've also been very clear that I don't necessarily see him as a starter long-term for Chelsea as a Premier League challenging team. That's just my opinion. We're all entitled to our own. Football is a game of opinions. But I recognise that he's a great player and an excellent professional, a top boy and a Chelsea fan, so there is sentimentality there. But at the same time, if the new Chelsea manager, and whether you like it or not, he's on a 5+1 deal, if he thinks, I like Conor, but he's not going to start, he's not my type of player, then you might as well sell him for 45 million euros. Very sad, guys. Do let me know what you think about Conor Gallagher's situation. I mean, we've been emotionally preparing for this for a long, long time, haven't we? Seems like that it's finally coming, and with that, I'd much prefer him to go to Atletico Madrid than Tottenham, like I've explained. Let me know your thoughts, and now we're going to speak about Enzo Fernandez. Of course, he's returned to Chelsea, and apparently it's not all harmonious. So I'm going to use a website firstly called Bola VIP. Kevin Loyola, God, easy for me to say, has wrote about this. Also at CFC POS has cited a guy on X. We'll do that afterwards. So Enzo Fernandez, this is the article first from Bola VIP. Enzo Fernandez knows he's made a huge mistake. He's tried to make amends by publicly apologising to everyone, especially his Chelsea teammates, for a video made in poor taste, which were the former River Plate star recorded himself, I think he live streamed, and several Argentine teammates singing a homophobic and racist song about French players. According to a leak from The Athletic, reputable publication, none of the 6 French players at Chelsea, Malo Gusto, Wesley Fofana, Benoit Badiashile, Christopher Nkunku, Axel Disasi, and Ugo Chukwu as well, are willing to accept Fernandez's apologies. Wow. Additionally, Belgian player Romeo Lavia, who's of African ancestry, shares the same stance. Despite Fernandez's apology and Chelsea's ongoing internal investigation, there is no indication that these players have accepted the 23-year-old midfielder's expressions of remorse. Being sorry. The unresolved issue will pose a significant challenge for Enzo Maresca, Chelsea's new head coach, who is already tasked with revitalising the team. And boy, with the first 2 preseason games we've watched, he's really got a task on his hands in terms of revitalising the team. And this obviously is another bigger task. Well, not necessarily bigger, both big tasks on top. So yes, this is from... This quote is from Christian Martin, broadcaster, journalist, I guess, Argentinian. He says this. So Enzo Fernandez has joined pre-season. The club is divided. Some French players see it one way, while the rest of the club, including Enzo Maresca, see it differently. So the manager's obviously been asked about this a lot, hasn't he? He's been like, yeah, it's wrong, but yeah, it should be fine. Don't worry about it. You know, we'll explain to the players and we'll move forwards. Of course, his assistant coach, Willy Caballero, Chelsea cult hero, obviously played a lot in goal for Chelsea. Of course, he's Argentinian himself. So Willy Caballero has explained the cultural context. So he obviously is from the country, Argentina, and he's his countryman. Obviously, he is a emotionally empathetic, intelligent guy, Caballero, and he's explained maybe to the French players speculating here that they've not done it out of malice. The cultural context, which I'm assuming is probably highlighting ignorance, which we'll see what happens, whether that will soothe to them or not. They probably, I mean, if they're not forgiving him, they're probably just thinking, look, this is the world, it's international, there's internet, there's global cultural context, which this is just not acceptable. And also as well, like, I would be so offended, in their place. They didn't. It wasn't even a World Cup. They were playing the Cup. They won the Copa America. It's nothing to do with France. Why would you just suddenly sing an insulting song about France? It's just like, yeah, you would feel so offended. It's not like, oh, they're singing an ignorant racist chant after beating us and whatever. They're nothing to do with us. They've just decided in their moment of victory to be nasty about us. We've got nothing to do with it. I would be really offended in their position. So Willy Caballero has been explaining the cultural context. The club hopes to solve the issue amicably. However, a sanction on Enzo cannot be ruled out. Well, last we heard from Chelsea, they're sort of doing an investigation on Enzo Fernandez still. So with that, they're probably deciding what to do with him. I mean, almost certainly, I think he's probably been fined, maybe, because when you sign for a big club, you can't do anything to besmirch the club's name, can you? And that certainly was doing that. So Chelsea can fine him. It'd be really interesting. It's such a shame for Enzo because he should be flying high on this Copa America win. I don't think he's a racist. I don't think he's intentionally a racist, like consciously. I don't think he has those, conscious, assertive views. I just think there's an great deal of ignorance there, and people need to be educated. It's all just a shame, but like my position remains the same on it. Hopefully, out of this sad situation, some positive can come out of it, where people just learn, oh yeah, this is a big story. Everyone's really upset about this. Oh, maybe this isn't okay. And that's something good that can come out of something bad. Hopefully, we'll see. But yeah, tricky. All right, so let me know what you think about everything. Of course, I'll be following the stories about centre forward, about a winger. Of course, they're developing stories for Chelsea Football Club at the moment in the transfer window, so it won't always be, dramatic stories and sad exits. So do keep it locked. Hit the bell if you do subscribe. Thank you for liking the video. I do appreciate and see all your support, so thank you so much for that, gang, and I hope to see you back here soon on Football Therapy. Mwah. Peace.